A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome back to Civics first year class. We have discussed your 11th chapter and we have discussed the short answers from that chapter, the reasons for decline in the significance of legislature and the reasons for the growth of significance of executive. Today we will discuss another short answer, that is discuss judicial reviews. What is judicial review? Okay. What is judicial review? See, judicial review, it is the power of the court to validate the laws made by the legislature. See, whenever a law is made by the legislature, the judiciary, that is the courts, they will check whether those laws are according to the constitution or not. If they are not according to the constitution, then those laws can be declared as unconstitutional or invalid or ultra vires. Once the court declares the laws as unconstitutional, then those laws can't be implemented. So that is judicial review. What is judicial review? It is the power of the court. What is judicial review? It is the power of the judiciary or court to declare the laws as valid or invalid. Okay, not only the laws, even the decisions taken by the executives. Okay, the decisions taken by the executive can be questioned by the court of law. Okay, so the laws which are declared as unconstitutional, if they are against the constitution, okay, the judiciary will declare the laws made by the legislature as unconstitutional if they are against the constitution. So this concept of judicial review was originated in United States in 19th century. Okay, this concept, it originated in 19th century in United States. And this concept is purely based on theory of separation of powers. What is theory of separation of powers? The theory of separation of powers says that the powers are divided between the three organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay, the powers are divided between the organs of the government, and each organ is checking the other organ from the misuse of its power. The theory of separation of power, it says that the powers are divided between the three organs of the government, and each organ is checking the other organ from the misuse of its power. Okay, so the constitutional amendments also, the amendments made to the constitution. So what is amendment? Changes. The changes made to the constitution are also reviewed, are also checked by the judiciary. So these are simple 6 sentences. If you are writing, you can score 5 marks. This is the most repeated question mark. Okay, judicial review. Sometimes it is asked for 5 marks or sometimes it is asked for 2 marks also. So what is judicial review? It is the power of the judiciary to declare the laws made by the legislature or the actions of the executive as invalid if they are against the constitution. If they are against the constitution. So where did this concept originated? It originated in United States in 19th century. This concept, it originated in 19th century in United States. And this power of judicial review, it is based on theory of separation of power. What is theory of separation of power? Here, the powers of the government, that is the powers of all the three organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary are separated. And each organ will check the other organ and it will, stop the other organs from misusing its powers. Okay, and through this judicial review, the court can also review the amendments or changes made to the constitution. Okay, I hope I'm clear with this. It is a very simple question. You should have an idea. What is judicial review? It is nothing but the judiciary will review, will check the laws made by the legislature and the actions of the executives. If they are according to the constitution, well and good. But if they are against the constitution, then judiciary will declare them as invalid. Judiciary will declare them as invalid or unconstitutional. You can also say unconstitutional. Okay, invalid or unconstitutional. So let us move to the next one. That is rule of law. So, many a times I have told you what is rule of law. Rule of law is nothing but equality before law. Rule of law is nothing but it is equality before law. In all the democratic countries, the governments, they follow rule of law. That means the government does not discriminate among the people. Government does not discriminate among the people, and everybody has to follow the same laws. Okay, so laws are applicable to all and everyone comes under the control of the law. This is the main principle of rule of law. Okay, rich, poor, okay, everybody, people from different walks of life, everybody, they have to follow the same laws. Okay, that is equality before law. If I am violating the rules, I'll be punished. If you are violating the rules, you will be punished. It is not that I'm a teacher, so I should not be punished. No, if I am violating the laws, if I am violating the rules, I'll be punished. That is the principle of rule of law. Everybody, every individual, it will come under the control of the laws. Okay, and government will also function accordance with the laws. Okay, so what is rule of law? It says that no one is over and above the law. Even if the president of India, if he is violating the rules, if he is breaking the laws, then he will be punished. Nobody is above the law. What is rule of law? Says that no person or no institution is above law. And rule of law means same laws are applicable to common man and government officials. Same laws are applicable to common man and the government officials. And when we say rule of law, no person shall be punished or arrested. Okay, no person shall be punished or arrested except for the violation of law. When a person is violating the law, then only he can be arrested or punished. Okay. Now, this concept was proposed by A.V. Dicey. Okay, in his book, the Introduction to the Study of Law of the Constitution. He has written a book called Introduction to the Study of Law of the Constitution. In that book, he has explained this concept, rule of law. So remember simple points. What is rule of law? Rule of law means equality before law. Everybody has to follow the same laws. Everyone comes under the control of laws. Nobody is above law. Okay, and no person shall be arrested except for the violation of law. And this concept was proposed by A.V. Dicey. Okay, in his book, Introduction to the Study of the Law of the Constitution. So simple sentences. These are very simple sentences. If you are learning this, you can easily write this answer. Again, this question can be asked for either 5 marks or for 2 marks. Okay, the 5 marks or for 2 marks. So it's a very simple question. Both the questions which we have discussed just now, judicial review and rule of law. Students find it difficult to learn. Just understand what is it saying. Judicial review, here the court has got the power to review. What is it reviewing? It is reviewing the laws made by the legislature and the actions of the executives. If they are according to the constitution, fine. But if the laws and the actions are against the constitution, then judiciary has the power to declare them as invalid. So from the word judicial review itself, you can understand. Then when you are saying rule of law, what is rule of law? There is equality before law. All have to follow the same laws. Nobody is above law. That is rule of law. And who gave this concept? Who proposed this concept? A.V. Dies. Okay. In his book, Introduction to the Study of the Law of Constitution. Okay, like this, if you are able to retain the important points or learn the important points, you can easily write the answer. Now, let us move to the next. That is very short answers of this chapter. Okay, so the first one, the most repeated one, it is the most repeated question. In every paper, you will find this question, and it is the easiest question. Okay, so how many organs of government are there? What are they? Okay, the question is, how many organs of government are there? What are they? So first, we should write a small introduction about the government. What is government? Government, it makes the rules and regulations and implements them to control the external behavior of the people. It is the government which is making laws. After making laws, it is implementing the laws. With laws, it is controlling the external behavior of the people. Okay. Then, coming to the main part of the question, organs of the government. So, government, whatever may be the type of government, parliamentary, presidential, monarchy, whatever may be the type of government, every government will have 3 organs. How many organs does the government have? Every government has 3 organs. So what are these 3 organs? Legislature, executive, judiciary. What are the 3 organs of the government? Legislature, executive, judiciary. And in short, in brief, you can write the functions of the legislature. What does the legislature do? Okay, it makes the laws. Legislature makes the laws. Executive will implement the laws. And judiciary, it interprets. Interprets means it checks the laws. It reviews the laws. Okay, so this is your 2-mark question. If you are writing like this, you can get 2 on 2. Next, coming to the theory of separation of power. So what is this theory of separation of power? When we discussed, just now we discussed the judicial review. I told you judicial review is based on theory of separation of power. So what is the theory of separation of power? Who gave this theory? First, question yourself. Who gave this theory? Montesquieu gave this theory. That this theory of separation of power was explained by Montesquieu. Okay, Montesquieu, he gave this theory. Where did he give this theory? He wrote a book called The Spirit of Laws. In his book, The Spirit of Laws, Montesquieu gave this theory. Okay, so what does this theory say? It says that the 3 organs of the government shall work independently. The 3 organs just now we have discussed: legislature, executive, judiciary. All these 3 organs, they should work independently. Okay, that means no organ should interfere in the matters of functioning of the other organ. Okay, So when each organ is working independently, then each organ should also check the misuse of power by other two organs. Okay. So each organ should work independently and it should check the misuse of power by the other organs. That is theory of separation of power. So what will happen? Why? What is the need? Why this theory of separation of power is required? So if there is theory of separation of power, that means if the powers of all the three organs are, separated and they are working independently, and each organ is checking the misuse of power by the other organs, then it will protect the liberty of the people. To protect the liberty of the people, the theory of separation of power was explained by Montesquieu. Okay. So who gave the theory of separation of power? Montesquieu. See, for every sentence, it is, make it a habit. For every sentence, if you ask questions like why, what, how, where, okay. For example, I am explaining you this answer, theory of separation of powers. Who gave this theory? Okay, for first sentence, you can remember who gave the theory of separation of powers? Montesquieu. The answer for that who is? Montesquieu. So where did he explain this theory? He explained this theory in his book, The Spirit of Laws. What is this theory? This theory, it says that all the three organs of the government shall work independently. Okay, so what happens if each organ is working independently? Each organ will again check the misuse of power by other organs. So what is the use of this? With this, the rights or the liberties of the people are protected. So try to question each sentence. Okay, then you will be able to learn the answer quickly. Let us move to the next one. What is meant by plural executives? So under the topic executives, we have plural executive. So what is plural executive? So plural executive is one in which the directing authority is shared by group of ministers. Okay, in India, we have this plural executive. We have Prime Minister and his ministers, and his council of ministers, right? The team of Prime Minister is called as Council of Ministers. So all the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister will allot them the departments and say they have the directing authority. So the government is headed by the Prime Minister. When we say government, it consists of Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So what happens in plural executive? Here, the authority is shared by group of ministers headed by the Prime Minister. In India, we have plural executive. Okay, so here this system is also prevalent in Switzerland, where the burden of government is shared by 7 ministers. So all 7 are called as presidents. Okay, here the burden of governing is shared by 7 ministers, and they are elected by the national legislature for a fixed period. Okay, in India also we have plural executive, and this here also the government, that is the Prime Minister and his ministers, they belong to the national legislature, that is parliament. Then they are elected for a fixed period. Okay, so difference between single and plural executive is not based on the number, but based on the responsibility. Okay, here when we say single or plural executive. It does single executive means it doesn't mean that you will have only one executive. You will have assistants to the executive here. So it is not based on the number, but it is based on the responsibility, how they are functioning, how they are working. So what is plural executive? Here, the authority, directing authority is shared by group of ministers. Okay. So where do you find this system? It is prevalent in Switzerland, where you have 7 ministers as the presidents. And they are elected to the central or national legislature for fixed period. And the difference is not based on the number, but on the basis of the responsibility given to them. Okay. Let us move to the next one. Again, what is judicial review? We have discussed this. Okay, for 5 marks we have discussed. You can write the same thing. Okay, it is a important feature of or important power of judiciary. This concept was originated in United States of America. Okay, what is judicial review? It means the power of the judiciary to declare the laws made by the legislature as invalid. When they can declare those laws as invalid? If they are against the Constitution. So this concept, it is based on theory of separation of powers. Here, the judiciary has got power to validate the laws made by the legislature. Okay, so legislature cannot make unconstitutional or unnecessary laws. Next is Senate. Now, in the United States of America and Canada, upper house of central legislature is called as Senate. Okay, so in India, we call it as Rajya Sabha. The upper house of the central legislature is Rajya Sabha. In England, it is the upper house of the union legislature. It is called as House of Lords. But in America and Canada, it is called as Senate. Okay, so it is the representations of states. It represents the states. And it approves the decisions taken by the president. In America, we have presidential form of government. So whatever decisions are taken by the president, the Senate will approve it. It is the upper house. Okay. So the Senate, it enjoys more powers than the House of Representatives. So this upper house, it enjoys more powers than the House of Representatives, that is the lower house in America. Okay. In presidential form of government, upper house is more powerful than the lower house. The example here we have America and Canada. Okay. Where the upper house is more powerful than the lower house. So if you get a question, House of Lords, it is the upper house of the legislature of England. Like that you can write. But you will get mostly this question Senate will be asked. Then what is unicameralism? What is unicameralism? Now this word unicameral, it means one house. Unicameral means one house. So legislature which has only one house. The legislature which has only one house is called as unicameral legislature. Okay, legislature which has only one house, it is called as unicameral legislature. Usually, the countries where you have unitary form of government. What is unitary government? The one government for whole country. One government for whole country. You will not have state governments. Okay, in unitary form of government, you will not have state governments. Even if you have state governments, they derive power from the central governments. They derive power from the central government. Okay, so the countries where you have unitary form of government, then the legislature will also unicameral. The legislature will also be unicameral. Why? Because there is no requirement of representation of states. Representation of state is not required there. So they'll have only one house. It is less expensive. It is less expensive. Why it is less expensive? Only members of one house are elected. Elections are to be conducted for only one house. So it is less expensive and decisions can be taken quickly. You need not wait for the second house to pass the bill. Okay. Decisions can be taken quickly. That is unicameral legislature. And it is, usually you'll see this unicameral legislature in the countries where you have unitary government. See, whenever you're writing an answer, especially 2 marks answers, try to write down in points. How I have given on the screen, you can see. If you are writing in points, it will be easy for the examiner to understand what you have written. And when you are writing the exam, try to attempt 2 marks questions first. Now coming to the next question, that is bicameral legislature. So uni means one house. Bi means the legislature will have 2 houses. Bi represents 2. So legislature will have 2 houses. That is the lower house and the upper house. The lower house and the upper house. So the lower house, it represents the people. The lower house represents the people and the upper house, it represents the states. So it is one of the basic feature of federation. What is federation? Where you have federal system of government. Federal system of government. What does it mean? In federal system of government, you will have 2 governments. That is central government and state government. You will have 2 governments. They function independently. They function independently. Okay. So for federal system, the countries where you have federal system, there you will have bicameral legislature. That means the central legislature will have 2 houses, upper house and lower house. Lower house, it represents the people, and upper house, it represents the states. Okay. For example, we can take India. The parliament, that is the central legislature. The parliament of India is bicameral. We have 2 houses there. Lok Sabha, which represents the people, it is the lower house, and Rajya Sabha, it represents the states, which is the upper house. Okay. So what is the use of having 2 houses? The upper house will check the ill-considered laws of the lower house. Okay, what happens? The bills are introduced in Lok Sabha or the lower house. After approval, it will go to Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha will check whether this bill was considered in a quickly, like just to pass the laws. Does it really discussed properly? Was it discussed properly? Everything will be checked again. Okay, do we really need that law? That will be checked again. Okay, if Rajya Sabha or the upper house feels that the law is not required, it is unnecessary, then it can reject that bill. It can reject that bill. So the upper house has the power to reject the bills passed by the lower house. Okay. This is bicameralism. Next is parliamentary executive. So now coming to the next part, the form of governments. The governments are of different types. Governments are of different types. One is parliamentary and the other is presidential. The next chapter which we will deal is based on this only. First is parliamentary form of government. What is the difference between these two? In parliamentary form of government, you will have, you will have two executives. You will have two executives, whereas presidential government, you will have one executive. In presidential government, you will have one executive. So when we are saying two executives, you will have head of the state and head of the government. You will have head of the state and head of the government. But in presidential government, you will have only one executive. He is both. He is the head of the state and government. Okay, he is the head of the state as well as he is the head of the government. So in parliamentary form of government, you have two executives. You will have two executives. So head of the state is nominal executive. The head of the state is nominal executive and head of the government is a real executive. Okay. So nominal means he enjoys the powers only for the namesake, whereas the real executive, he takes all the decisions. So if you want to see the example, the President of India, he is the nominal executive and Prime Minister, he is the real executive. So what is a parliamentary form of government? Parliamentary form of government is a government where you have two executives, the real executive and the nominal executive. Okay, the nominal executive, he enjoys all the powers on the advice of the real executive. So he enjoys power only for the namesake. All the decisions are taken by the real executive. So example here it is, President of India is the nominal executive, Prime Minister is the real executive. I hope I'm clear with this. Now let us move to your next chapter, 12th chapter, that is forms of government. In this chapter, we will discuss about various forms of government. So just now, I explained you about unitary, parliamentary, federal, presidential. Okay, so in this chapter, you will discuss all these things in detail. Okay, so here you have, weightage for this chapter is 7 marks. You will get 1 SAQ and 1 BSAQ from this chapter. But for that 1 SAQ, you have to learn 6 SAQs. Okay, for 1 SAQ, you have to learn 6 SAQs. And coming to the very short answers, you have 8 questions. You will get 1 question out of this 8. Let us start with the first question. It is about unitary government. What are the merits and demerits of unitary government? So just now I told you, what is a unitary government? It is a government where the entire country will have only one government. Even if they are, state governments, they function on the, they derive powers from the central government. They don't have their own powers. Central government will give instructions to the state government here. State government does not function independently. So unitary government is a form of government where the entire power of the government is with the central government only. Okay. Even if there are provincial or state governments, they derive power from the central government. Okay. So let us see the merits of unitary government. Now, in unitary government, the first merit is powerful administration. As all the powers are in the hands of central government, it helps in taking fast decisions. Okay. So it will work for maintaining internal peace. There is no confusion related to laws. Okay. So in unitary government, all the power of the government are vested in the hands of central government. It helps to take decisions fast and work timely. Okay. For example, if there is an emergency situation in a state, immediately the decision can be taken. Okay. And it will maintain internal peace. There won't be any conflict between the governments. And it will help in maintaining law and order in the country. So what kind of administration is unitary government? It is a powerful administration. The next, it is simple and less expressive. Okay, expensive. It is expensive, ma. Okay, unitary government is easy and less expensive government. How can we say that it is less expensive? Because elections are conducted only for one government. If it is federal system, you have to conduct election for the central government as well as for the state governments. So having one government, elections are conducted only once. So it is less expensive. Okay. Next is, it is flexible. The administration is flexible. Administration is flexible in unitary form of government because it is easy for them to adapt the changing social needs and environment. Okay, it is easy for the government to adapt to the changes and needs of the people. Okay, because it can amend the constitution as and when required. Only one government, so it can amend the constitution easily. So administration is, powerful. Administration is flexible also. So what kind of states? Okay, to which state it is suitable? It is suitable for the small states. Unitary government is suitable for small states with less population and less or small geographical area. Okay, it is suitable for the small states. Then quick decisions can be taken. It is very useful in meeting the emergencies. Okay, for emergency situation, quick decisions has to be taken. So if there is only one government, it will meet the purpose. So quick decisions can be taken. And national integration. Okay, in unitary government, there is single citizenship. Okay, that shows that There is no discrimination among the people. People are not discriminated on the basis of the region they belong. Okay. So it will contribute to the national integration. Let us see the demerits. Here, what happens? If there is only one government and all the government powers are in the hands of central government, there is a scope for dictatorship. Okay, fascist powers means there is a scope that the government may become a dictator form of government. Then centralization of administration. As all the powers are in the hands of single government, there is no chance, there is no scope of distribution of powers. And okay, provincial means state governments, which may lead to more burden on central government. As powers are not divided between the central and the state, so the central government will have more burden. Then it is unsuitable or not suitable for the larger states. Okay. The countries which has got, huge geographical area and huge population, for such type of countries, this unitary government is not suitable. Next is neglect of local initiatives. Okay, so local initiatives are neglected because of the centralization of powers. The power is in the hands of central government. So it may neglect the local initiatives taken by the local leaders. I hope I'm clear with this topic. Now let us move to the next question. What are the merits and demerits of parliamentary form of government? So what is parliamentary form of government? In parliamentary form of government, there exist two executives, the real executive and the nominal executive. So here, the nominal executive, he is the head of the state, and the real executive, he is the head of the government. And in parliamentary form of government, the most important leader is Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the most important leader in the parliamentary form of government. Okay. So, what is actually parliamentary form of government? The executives, they are the part of the legislature. In parliamentary form of government, the party which secures majority in the parliament, the leader of that party will be appointed as the prime minister. So, the prime minister is also the part of legislature. His ministers are also the part of legislature. So what is the first merit of parliamentary form of government? There is harmony and coordination between the legislature and executive. Okay. So here in parliamentary form of government, both legislature and executive, they work with cooperation and coordination. There is cooperation and coordination between the executive and legislature. Okay, is it clear? Then a scrub on autocracy. In parliamentary government, legislature checks the despotic attitude of majority party. So the party which secures majority, that will form the government, and the legislature will question the government. Okay, and it will pass the resolutions. So, the party in power, it cannot become a despotic. It cannot become despotic. It is answerable. Okay, government is answerable to the legislature. Okay, in parliamentary system, government is answerable. Answerable, or you can say responsible also. responsible to the legislature. Okay, so that is the another merit of parliamentary form of government. Now, next is government by able and experienced. Okay, so after getting majority in the house, while forming the government, they'll take care that the able and experienced people are selected as ministers. The Prime Minister, while selecting his ministers, he will take care, he will make sure that the ministers, they are able and experienced. They have the knowledge of governing. Okay. So that is government by able and experienced. So next is, it is a responsible government. Okay, in parliamentary system, what happens? The opposition party controls the ruling party through vigilance inside and outside the legislature. So opposition always keeps an eye on the ruling party. Okay. Then it is a flexible government. Okay. The people can choose their rulers. Why it is flexible? Because every 5 years elections are held and people, they have the opportunity to choose their leaders. So it is a flexible form of government. If the government fails to, work for the people, then the opposition can pass no confidence motion against the government. So government can be changed through election. They need not, complete 5 years. Before 5 years also, the government can be changed. Then alternative, that is what here, the alternative government can be formed. Okay, so opposition provides alternative government, okay, which can be changed peacefully. The government can be changed peacefully with just a resolution in the parliament will change the government. Now coming to the demerits, disadvantages of parliamentary form of government. It is an unstable government. Okay, it is an unstable government because government, it does not have a fixed tenure. Any day, no confidence motion can be passed against the government. So it is unstable. Next, there is violation of theory of separation of powers. Okay, here the members of legislature can become the ministers. Here, the people who are the members of legislature, the members of parliament, only they can become the ministers. So this is violating the theory of separation of powers. Next is, the executive may become autocratic tyranny of majority. So when a party secures complete majority in the house, then what happens? It is likely that the prime minister may become autocratic. He can become like a dictator because there is no strong opposition to oppose him or his government. Okay, so that is another demerit of parliamentary form of government. It is not suitable or unsuitable for emergency. To meet the promptness of the crisis, the parliamentary government may waste lot of time in discussions. Lot of time is wasted in discussions. Prompt decisions are not taken. Okay, so that is why we say it is not suitable for emergency. Bureaucratic dictatorship. In parliamentary government, the bureaucracy becomes unduly important. Okay, bureaucrats. Okay, the ministers, they become more powerful in parliamentary form of government, and national interest may get ignored. In parliamentary form of government, political parties, their main intention will be to come into the power. Okay, they don't show any interest in the sake of nation, for the sake of nation. Their interest is to come in the power. Okay, so national interest is ignored in parliamentary form of government. Now, let us discuss the merits and demerits of federal form of government. So, what is federal government? Federal government will have two governments, that is central and the state government. See, in unitary government, you will have only one government for the whole country. If there are state governments or provincial governments, they are not important. They are not independent. Okay, they derive powers from the central government. But in federal form of government, you will have two governments, that is central government and the state government, and both work independently. Both work independently. Okay, so let us discuss the merits of federal government. So there is a scope for unity in diversity. If you take the example of our country, ours is a federal system. Okay, so we have different states having different languages, but still there is unity among the people. So there is unity in diversity. There is a scope, there is a chance of achieving unity in diversity. The federal system of government, it is against dictatorship. Okay, as there is division of power between the central and the state government. In federation, powers are divided between the center and the state governments. So there is no scope for dictatorship. There is no scope for this dictatorship. Then, as the powers are divided between the center and state, the central government is less burden. Okay, there is less burden on the central government because the powers are divided. Then the federal form of government, it is suitable for the countries with large geographical area and huge population. The countries which has got large geographical area and large population, for such countries the federal form of government is suitable. Then next is, it leads to efficient administration. It leads to efficient administration. As the powers are divided between the center and the states, okay, they work efficiently. The burden is reduced, so they can work more efficiently, and there is a scope that they work on important national issues or interest. Okay, the central government, for example, if there is unitary government, one government, it has to take care of the security of the country, it has to take care of the development of the country. Okay, it has to take care of solving the problems of the people. It has got a huge burden. But when it is a federal form of government where powers are divided, okay, so each state government will work for the development of that particular state, and it will lead to the development of the nation, and the focus of the central government will be on other issues like security of the nation, foreign relations of the nation. Okay, all this is taken care by the central government. So when there is division of powers, it will lead to efficient administration. Let us now see the demerits of federal government. It is an unstable government. Federal government, it is not a very strong form of government. It is weak government due to distribution of powers between the center and the state. Unitary government, it is a very strong government because all the powers are in the hands of one government only. But here, the powers are divided between the center and the states. So it is a weak form of government. Then there is lack of uniform laws. In unitary form of government, there is only one legislature which is making laws, and those laws are applicable throughout the country. Everybody is following the same laws. But when it comes to federal form of government, central government is making laws and state government is also making laws. And the laws made by one state government are different from the laws made by the other states. So there is no uniformity in laws. Okay. There are different laws in each state. Then it is an expensive mechanism. See, unitary government, I told you, it is less expensive because only elections are held for or conducted for central government. But here in federal system, there you have two sets of governments. You have in federal system, you have two sets of government, that is central and the state. Okay. So here the elections are conducted for central government and for the state government separately. So it is more expensive form of government. In unitary system, you will have, only one executive, one legislature, but for federal system, for each state, you will have an executive. For each state, you will have an legislature also. So it is more expensive form of government. Then there is a fear of disintegration. Okay, there is a fear of disintegration. That means there is a fear that the states, they want to get separated and form into a new state. Okay, so there is a fear of disintegration. So with this, we have completed your federal type of government.